Radio Zero.
It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose, Friday, July 22nd, 2022. Hindsight.
You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Facebook. No, not Facebook. What's the other one?
MySpace.
Google Podcasts I've been using lately. Go to radiozero.us. We're live streaming on Facebook on the Radio Zero page and the Poster Children page.
That's right.
On Twitch at PCJCUSA. I apologize. The scheduling on Twitch doesn't. The calendar is not user-friendly to people who don't have lots of followers. So actually, if you all follow us on Twitch, then I'll be able to get the calendar to be more accurate on Twitch and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. You can patronize us at patreon.com/Radio0. Thank you to all our patrons. We should probably start thanking those people when after, on anniversaries and stuff. I think I'll do that. I'll make a note to forget to do that.
Mike Markowski says good afternoon because he's in Hawaii, so it's 3 a.m. there. Tim Bowers says greetings and salutations, but does not tell us what
time it is.
Exotic place he's in today.
Just tell us what temperature.
Yeah, tell us what time. Oh, there's a new comment. No, there isn't, because Facebook. All right. I have a sourdough update for everybody.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on.
Actually, I better feed the sourdough.
Criminy.
While he's getting that ready, thank you. It's 88 degrees Fahrenheit where Tim Bowers is, and this is a sourdough update. So I made oat milk the other day because I have been making acai bowls for lunch without the acai because I ran out of it and it's really freaking expensive. Like I bought like acai powder from the he's in Stuttgart.
And for all of you crossword puzzle people, that's
AC with a
AI, ACAI.
ACAI, and the C has a little umlaut behind it. Oh, the child is leaving.
Like medallion. What was the word that you always like?
Oh, medallion. Dow was reading some kind of book called Rain, and he was like, but it's rain. It's two different rains. And I said, oh, Reagan. I realized that the reason that I could spell well when I was little is because I would even if I knew the word was rain, REIGN, but in my mind I would say Reagan.
And I remember I called the Angelica Theater in New York the Angelica.
Why would you even know
exactly.
about the Angelica Theater in New York?
I remember someone. It was. It might have been in one of the Robert Caro books, but I think it was a different LBJ biography, and kind of some. Yeah, it might have been an oral history, but someone just being very dismissive of Lady Bird, like how she was educated, but she called Beethoven. It's like,
and that's just a sign of somebody who's read a lot and doesn't have any smart friends.
So
to
if
talk
you're,
to them.
yeah, exactly. If you're the smartest person in your hillbilly town,
you're going to be saying,
Beethoven, because you don't have anyone else to correct you. And it's just like, oh, that's nice.
So I have to apologize to
like in one like short sentence, just kind of dismissing this woman in so many ways. It was amazing. It was
we do that all the time, though.
We do that
to
all
people.
the time.
Yeah.
The collective we.
Like we dismissed, former President Trump for looking into the sun or whatever.
Guys basically tailgating, and they're going to jail for insurrection.
And some of them were very good people, and Antifa. Mike Markowski. So I have to apologize to him because when I think of Hawaii, for some reason, like if I was going to fly to Hawaii right now, I would go east, and that would be wrong. It would take me a lot longer. So Hawaii for me is east. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
and I know
weird.
It's not east.
Christopher Columbus.
I know.
Going around the Cape
so
of the Great Horn.
I know.
Cape of,
I know.
what was it?
I don't know.
What's the big?
I don't know. But it's 6 a.m. and 69 degrees where Mike Markowski is. Mike from New Jersey / now from Hawaii. New Jersey is east. It's not a New Jersey thing. It's just Hawaii. Like when I think about Japan too, for some reason it's on these. It must be whatever world map I grew up with has all that stuff on the right. That's what it is. Like the is it a Mercator? You know your kid used the word Mercator projection.
Well, he said
Mercator projection.
and I say Mercator, but
Mercator. Yeah, and I say
which is the
Mercator.
right?
I've heard it both ways. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I think that must be why, like, because when we see Japan on a world map geared towards America, it's to the right. So, but Hawaii, yeah, they're not going to waste space putting Hawaii on to the left. Anyway, back to my oat milk. I make acai bowls, so I have like all the fruit that starts like rotting because I didn't eat it. I now throw it in the freezer. And then I grind it up, and I put I'm not going to put actual regular milk in there because gross. I don't drink milk from a cow. So usually I go out and I buy usually I buy soy milk because the soy milk is like 30 calories and the oat milk is like 80. Did you know that? But this time I was too lazy, and then I looked up how to make oat milk, and it's like you take a half a cup of oats and 3 cups of water.
Cup of milk.
No, it's a half a cup of oats. Like we have oatmeal here. So like a half a cup of oats. So that's like 2 cents of oats and like 3 cups of water, which is like 45 cents of water, right? I don't know how much water costs. And then you just grind it together and then you just strain it.
I forgot to make my joke.
Go ahead.
Ladies, get out your note cards and your pencil.
Yeah,
for
it's
the
a half a
recipe.
cup. It's a half a cup of oats and 3 cups of water, and then strain it.
I seem to remember.
And then you can wait, hold on. You can put a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of agave or some kind of sweetener if you want. And that's what I did. And now I have oat fucking milk instead of paying $5 for it.
I believe I took home ec. 1 year in junior high. My junior high was only 2 years.
That was before oat milk, though.
I took home ec, and 1 year I took what was the other one? What was the man class?
Shop.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I feel like we spent a week in home ec talking about recipe cards, like organizing note cards and recipes in a box. I need to go back. And see if
maybe
that's
you have
me.
recipes.
But it also might be me conflating writing outlines for papers with the English in the English class. I can't remember.
Did you feel weird taking a ladies class?
Yeah, I mean, I was
you
made
really?
fun of. For
Really?
It. Yeah, and the shop guy made fun of me, the teacher.
Oh man, our shop guy was a nightmare.
Not being a two-timer, right? Not having both classes, not taking it.
This is Larry's lunch hour. He can only listen to a half hour of the show, so we better cram out all the good stuff in.
Half hour better be good.
How is your homemade oat milk? It tastes the same as the other stupid oat milk that I buy, but it's like $4 cheaper, I think.
It doesn't, but it's probably better. Like I like the extra creamy. Is it Chobani?
Yeah, you like Chobani extra creamy.
And so I've stopped buying it, and I think probably have lost 20 pounds because it's. I think it's just. It tastes so good. It was a vector for me to put it in my. So the problem I'm having is
Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, Frosted Flakes. But also just like I want to have an iced beverage in the morning, but I drink espresso, but iced espressos. I mean, I have no problem with regular espresso hot, but iced espresso is a little too
sad.
Crazy. It's not pleasant, and then I would put the oat milk in it, so then my espresso wound up being like 300 calories because I dump a bunch of oat milk in it. So I've stopped doing that, and I just sadly drink hot espresso at the kitchen table
Seems
in the 90-degree weather
very
and
French.
100% humidity. Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you have some of my coffee jelly? So that's the other thing, is that I'm like obsessed with, like, there's a place in Champaign called Suzu's Bakery, run by people I know, even people who taught us, right? They have coffee jelly there, and so I became obsessed with it. And like, I think one time I don't get to Champaign that often, but probably, at least once or twice a week, right? So I get there.
I don't get there that often.
Like once or twice a week.
2 to 4 times a week.
Not 2 to 4 times. Well,
yeah.
sometimes it has. Yeah, lately it has been.
Anyways.
Shut up.
Yeah.
It's 45 minutes away. Like, people who live in the city have to drive 45 minutes sometimes too. So
you should explain what coffee jelly is.
Coffee
because,
jelly, yeah.
When you say coffee jelly, even though I've had it, I imagine a piece of toast with some kind
coffee
of
jelly.
brown.
No, so the way they make it, and it's a Japanese treat, I guess. The way you get it is a tiny little cup filled with little cubes of coffee jelly. It's jelly. It's gelatin cubes. They're like supposed to be like a half inch. Like half inch or maybe an inch wide, inch by inch by inch, or half inch by half inch by half inch. And then they put like oat milk, or, they put cream in it. And then there's a little bit of cream on the top. And then they put like a little chocolate espresso bean. Oh my God. It's the greatest thing in the world. It's chilled, So it's like a wonderful summer treat. So I was obsessed with it. And then one time I got there too late and they ran out of it because, it's a bakery. And I was like, God damn it. I wonder how hard this is to make. And so when I typed in coffee jelly, vegan coffee jelly came up first. So I was under the impression that one needed agar in order to make it. So I was like, oh, okay, I have to go find agar. And because they don't have it in the normal stores that I go to. So when I went to the Asian food store the last time, and got agar, and we got, what was it called? Telephone brand. It's so beautiful. The package is gorgeous. And so coffee jelly is, you take 2 cups of coffee. It was like 2 cups of water, like a tablespoon of instant coffee for this recipe, and like a teaspoon of agar or something like that, and sugar, some amount of sugar. And then you mix it together, and then you just let it sit there, and then there's coffee jelly. I stuck it in the refrigerator, and now I have coffee jelly. So now when I went to Suzu's yesterday, and I was like, well, I guess I don't need coffee jelly. And nobody else in the house is going to eat it, only me. Everybody thinks it's gross.
I tried it, and to me, I did not really taste coffee. It was just a brown...
Yeah, there's not enough coffee in it.
Block, gelatinous cube.
Yeah, and that's because
for me, eating that, it felt like gross. I was in Snowpiercer. It was like, oh, yeah, here's your gelatinous block. In fact, for that video, I made a gelatinous block. Yeah.
I have to remake it again.
The flavor wasn't coming through.
Yeah, so next time I'm going to make it with good coffee. Like I made... No, seriously, I made it because I've looked at a couple of recipes and they're like, brew some good coffee. Okay, but this one...
Well, I think it just, maybe more density, right? Like more coffee per block.
Yeah, but and I made it with the Cafe Bustelo, which is a dark, I think it's dark roast, and I like light roast. I like a little bit more caffeine. I like a lighter flavor, But I'm definitely going to try it again. But it does suck that there's like 2 cups of, there's like a little thing of Jell-O up there that somebody's either going to have to eat or throw out. I'll have to throw it out probably. Maybe I'll eat some more of it. So, all right, that's the recipe hour.
Ladies.
So let's see.
So you can send us a self-addressed stamped envelope,
and I'll write the recipe card on it.
We'll type out the recipe card for you.
Larry liked home econ more than woodshop. I'm sure anybody who took both of them liked home econ better. Well, actually, it's probably not. Danny Ingram says not a sponsor of Suzu's Bakery, probably. Not a sponsor. I'm a sponsor of them. Larry says, I remember when Mr. Rogers, as in the show, taught us how to make peanut butter. Ooh. And Larry says I should include some recipes in my book. You're right. Except that I don't, I cook 4 things. Okay. What's next?
What else can we talk about?
We can move on to mine.
Well, you were talking about water, and you don't know how much water costs.
Yeah.
And then, did we have this discussion yet about the lawn and stuff? And
the torture, like the how Rick is the pariah of Bloomington.
I just feel like there's a person who's walked by a couple times and like actually looked at our lawn and shaken his head, and then I thought I saw him walk by with his wife across the street, and they stood and watched me with the push mower and kind of we're talking. I had my headphones on, and we're talking and staring at me.
And I saw this. I actually saw this happen.
Discussing our lawn. And Rose believes that it's a person who is just really interested in the fact that I have a push mower.
At that point, yeah. Like they're old people, they got nothing else to do.
And doesn't believe that there's the type of person who actually views a lawn with a dead patch in it as an affront to civilization, civilized society.
Yeah,
is ready to murder me.
Yeah.
If I walk off my land.
It's a really old man. He's like hunched over. So let's before you talk about.
I feel like if you want to talk about a world of toxic masculinity, I mean, you have to talk about lawn care too, and it's like you can't dismiss if we agree that there is a patriarchy and toxic masculinity, and then to dismiss lawn care, passive aggressive, and not even just aggressive lawn care.
Do I talk a lot about toxic masculinity?
I'm just saying, if you accept that it exists,
yeah,
then to deny that there are people who are psychotic about lawn care and not just about their own lawn, but they also, since it is like a religion and a belief system and directly related to their idea,
worth,
their personal worth, and their public persona,
right? Their place in society.
And then when they see someone who is not following those rules, or isn't doing a good job, or is undermining or not respecting that viewpoint, it's the same kind of crazy.
That motherfucker! I'm gonna fucking kill him.
It's a form of fundamentalism, and to believe that, oh no, Rick is just being a crazy person. And so I just wanted to say, so they had a whole episode of, like, they have this half-hour kind of bloggy like thing now on NPR. I don't know if it's on all stations, but our station, they'll do like a half-hour thing at 2:30, and it was all about water restrictions and everything like that. And it was definitely like. There was a person who was just like, I sent you the quote, which was like,
yeah,
I will stop watering my lawn. I will do this till the day I die. I would rather die than not water my lawn. And the guy was like, you mean really? And, it's all about, water restrictions and everything like that. And there are people who are like, yeah. And this guy was talking, I think it was a person in California talking about how his lawn is green and moist at all times. Right.
And I totally believe that. The thing that doesn't make sense to me is the neighborhood that we live in. The next door neighbors have a giant Indian Native American coin,
but
like fiberglass coin.
So again, you're applying logic to fundamentalism.
The people.
I think this is your
hold on.
basic
Let
problem.
me just finish. The people across the street, the people on the other side of us, their entire yard is dandelions. People across the street have got like a shit area in front, like right in front, where they should have hosta, but it's just all weeds. So there's and then a couple of people down the street have got like the wild, like just all completely wild in the front. So I don't know why it's not of note that this neighborhood is very eclectic. And ours, what we have is just a straight on lawn, like green lawn with a patch where there was a tree.
But it's full of clover and dandelions and crabgrass. It's not the right type of
green,
lawn. And
though.
I'm there.
It's green.
So yeah, I mean, so you're applying logic to fundamentalism. So
this is what I'm thinking. I'm not totally sure that we ourselves are being judged on our lawn when everybody else's lawn kind of looks like shit too. I think people live in this area because, it's nice. They realize, it's a very old area, 100-year-old houses. People come here at Halloween. We always talk about that. It's a historic neighborhood. And so it's not like a new neighborhood where people would be like crazy about their lawns. This is like anything goes here. Front yard vegetable gardens go here, and that happens.
Where in our neighborhood is there a front yard vegetable garden?
Right down the street. There's a front yard vegetable garden. It's
On this main street or on a side street?
on a side street.
Okay. all
And
right.
then there's just like the crazy wild growth. Like there's 2 houses, like about 5 houses away from us, that it just looks like a what? It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And so
So what you're saying is that
he's judging everybody. Then
yeah, I know that doesn't.
why do you
I don't
feel
understand why.
bad? Yeah.
Because I don't like being judged, and I don't like.
Well, that's his problem, not
yeah,
yours.
No, I wish I could be like you and not be upset when someone judges them.
Are you judging me?
I just don't. I don't like. I'm unhappy about. I'm unhappy about the industrial lawn complex.
Well,
And
if you really are,
I want it to be a trans. I do. I am. I do want to transition into a native front yard. I would like a Midwestern prairie front yard, and I feel like I'm working on it. I'm doing research. So
great! I'd be
yeah.
totally. I would love to help you with that.
Because that was the other thing about the show is talking to somebody who just basically did that and doesn't you don't have to water your lawn, and
Right.
we don't have to water our lawn. The only problem is that the bald patches that we're trying to fill in aren't sustaining.
And we have lots of friends that can help us. I mean,
And
we
the
don't
problem
water the
also
hosta.
Is I know the way people's minds work, fundamentalist minds work, and it's somebody who doesn't see the problem as the fact that we had 100-degree temperatures in June, and that's what killed all the grass, right? The new grass, and it's that I did not spend $100 watering my lawn during those 100-degree days, and I believe that that's wrong, and I believe that we're creating a huge amount of problems. Someone just posted, I saw this on Twitter, was a picture of like a reminder to everyone that the suburbs are more green than urban areas, and it was a picture of a city from like Google Maps or from above, like a satellite map, and of a suburb. And so yeah, the city looks white and gray, and the suburb looks green. But and then somebody wrote, "This is the problem that people think that a lawn is equivalent to environmentalism, right?
Right,
Which,
yeah.
which is like that. All that picture is that if you have a big block of green lawns in the suburbs, that means that people are dumping most likely fertilizer and huge amounts of water on their lawn to maintain that, and that's irresponsible."
So when I get back from Florida next week, I expect to see at least one rain barrel on our premises somewhere.
I think maybe I'm just going to cover the whole front yard in gravel. There are other people who have the front yard. I mean, it's a small. It's like they just turned their whole front yard. It's a much smaller lot and not as deep, or the house is not as far back. But it is just, and this is quite a few streets down. But it's just all asphalt. Like their front yard is a parking surface.
You mean the area in front of their?
No, I'm talking way down.
Oh, way down.
past,
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
near
That's
to the-
apartments.
It's not. It's a
really?
house.
Oh,
or
yeah,
it might
yeah,
be
yeah,
a
yeah.
duplex.
No,
I
I
don't know.
have seen.
But
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
all rocks. It's bigger rocks.
it's not even rocks. It's asphalt. There are people who have an asphalt front yard.
There's all right. Larry's saying a sand lawn, and
Yeah.
Rick has a push mower. So that yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't care enough about the man. I just don't want you to feel bad, I guess. I don't want you to feel like some rando walking down the street is judging you, and then for you to feel bad. I don't want you to feel bad.
I think it's a normal human reaction.
Okay. Well, when I see him though, I'm gonna go, "Hey, can I help you?"
No, I would not be aggressive.
I won't be aggressive. I'll just be
So,
like, "Hey, how's
can
it
I
going?"
help you?
No, I'll say, "Hey, how's it going? What do you think of our lawn? Are you can you help us?" Oh,
I don't
that was
want
the other
that.
thing. Did you talk about we found this is what started this whole thing off, is somebody left a sprinkler on our front, like an old decrepit sprinkler on our porch, like on our porch steps. And Rick said it was a passive aggressive sprinkler.
I talked to who it was, and it was fine. They
So,
tried to
yeah,
they ran into their house, and while I was outside, and then I was already gone by the time they came back in, because of course I don't want to interact with people while I'm working on my decrepit front yard. But yeah, no, he was cool.
All right. So, all right. Well, good. I'm glad you talked about that. I'm really excited to do something innovative with our front lawn. I think that would be fantastic, especially since I don't know how we're going to fight the dandelions on the other side, and the stupid. I mean, we should have a Native American prairie to go with our Native American giant 12-foot tall Indian coin on the other side of our house that we can't do anything about. And I mean, the neighbors, at least the neighbors with the Indian coin, just got a bunch of grass seed, and it looks like it's taken. So that's nice.
Yeah, it's not hard to grow grass. It's hard to keep it alive, especially in the summer. So there's going to be a lot of work on that.
All right, what's next?
You want to talk about your podcast? You should do a plug.
Plug for mine and Sarah Garibaldi's podcast. So it's not often that you find another friend your age that's as much into Star Wars as you are, who also doesn't have a penis. It's kind of neat. What?
Oh, I was going to say, it's like Star Wars is not an obscure film. I bet there are a lot of.
But she's just as obsessed with. I guess there are other ladies in their 40s and 50s who are obsessed with Star Wars, but there's not a lot of them. I don't think there's. It's just like I heard that NPR thing about people who never saw the movie The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, and now you've watched it, and what do you think? It's not that kind of thing where you watch it and it's life-changing. It has to be, you have to be immersed in some sort of, I don't know, it takes a while to sink in, right? Anyway.
And just to interrupt, sorry.
Yeah.
There was a question, somebody asked Star Wars or Star Trek, and I realized, in the same way, it's Beatles or Rolling Stones, and I always say the Kinks, and so Star Wars or Star Trek, I'll say, I need to always say 2001, Space Odyssey. Okay, continue.
That's good. Yeah.
Bye,
Larry.
Contrarian
Larry has to go
chops.
Back to work. Okay. Have a good rest of your day at work, Larry. So we're really into homesteading also, just homesteading ideas and stuff like that. I mean, Sarah's way more good at it than I am because she has chickens and stuff. And
we have nothing?
A whole bunch of, we have a rat.
Oh, and a cucumber that's apparently a zucchini.
Galaxy Quest, Lars, me too.
A poisonous. Well, okay, so Galaxy Quest, I think, see, the problem is that you have to have Star Trek and Star Wars to have Galaxy Quest.
You don't have to have Star Wars and Star Trek in order to have 2001.
I think, it's the opposite. Oh, no, Star Trek was, sorry.
I only like
sorry, everyone.
I only like
sorry, super nerds. Sorry, Trekkers.
I only like the monkey part of 2001. The rest of that stuff doesn't make sense. I'm going to go visit my parents pretty soon, and that's what my dad says.
He likes the monkey part?
He likes the monkey part. He understands that part. The rest of it doesn't make sense. He's right, but you shouldn't be upset about it.
Yeah, it's...
So, all right. So back to homesteading with Aunt Beru. So
it's not called that.
I know it's not, but that's our Facebook group. It's so cool.
Forced.
So Sarah's,
Forced
it's called Forced.
Forced.podbean.com. Is that right?
Probably.
I think so.
It's the best name ever for a feminist Star Wars podcast, and Sarah came up with it. Forced. There's nothing better than that.
Problematic.
It's awesome. Forced. And so you should listen to us, and we're going to have lots of guests on. Already somebody was like, how do I get to be a guest on this show? So
you have to appear in a Star Wars film.
No, that's not true. You have to, we'll have to have.
You have to have deep knowledge of Star Wars.
We'll have a written
You have to
test.
be a Star Wars expert.
I'll talk to Sarah about it. How you can become a guest on Forced.
What kind of what you need a Luke Skywalker jacket? You need to
I
have
had that.
some expensive.
So she's
trinket.
more. So she talks about she's more Leia centric, and I'm more Luke centric, and it's laugh all you want. I don't know what you are. You're like Chewbacca centric or something. What's your character in Star Wars? You're not Han Solo.
Really? You don't know.
Oh, are you Yoda? Oh, you're Jabba the Hutt.
Fuck
oh,
you.
You're
There's an obvious one.
Obi-Wan?
And yeah, of course. Of
You're-
course.
oh.
And only the Obi-Wan from the only film, the first film, right? Not this
Bridge over the River
revisionist-
Kwai?
Yeah, exactly. Alec Guinness, basically. Yeah, let's not even say Obi-Wan. Let's just say Alec Guinness.
Foundation on Apple TV. It's so good. Mike says, Mike Markowski.
I do like.
Is that the Star Trek?
It's what's his name? Son. I like him, the actor.
Stellan Skarsgård.
No.
So on the newest podcast of Forced,
Richard Harris's son. Not Richard. Yeah, Richard Harris's son, right?
Didn't he write a song?
He did not write the song. He performed the song.
Okay. So on our newest podcast, we watched the Andor video. Yeah, so what's interesting to me is that I've been editing sound for the first time in my life, for real. And editing, it's really interesting to me, like the mental work that you have to do in order to edit a person's, two people's conversation, especially when one of them is insulting the hell out of everything she cares about and everything that she shouldn't be insulting the hell out of, which is me. I was like, the last podcast, I was like, and then this entity that I work with, I should have probably done this and blah, 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 blah. She's like, well, what, like she's totally psychoanalyzing me. And when I listen to it again, I'm like, oh my God, I can't put this out in public. So like some of the names have been changed to protect the obvious.
Well, first off, there's my friend, Rock.
Yeah, I don't think you came up. Sorry.
Oh.
Who is
I'll never
just
know.
talking about my book. Yeah, it wasn't you. You know everything I think about you anyway. I tell you all this stuff. I have no secrets from you. I really don't. Maybe that's the problem. So anyway, yeah, listen to Forrest. I'm really excited about it, and I'm really
Who shuts the door? Who locks the door?
who shuts the door when they're taking a shit?
Who locks the door when
I
they're
don't have
taking
any
a crap?
problems with you.
I need to watch that movie again just to get that line.
Yeah, well, if you watch that movie again, let me watch it with you.
I'll let you. Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So listen to us. Listen to my edits, and it's good. I was just amazed because I was like, well, what if she's got stuff that she like? So the first episode we talked about having abortions and stuff, and we were like, ooh, should we
Star
be
Wars
talking about
topic?
this? Yes, everything relates back to Star Wars. Okay.
What's
And I absolutely love this woman. She's
What's the
amazing.
Star Wars-
She's so brilliant.
what's canon? Pro-choice, anti-abortion. What is it?
Yeah, it's like, so what she did, like I think it was this newest one. She's like, there's 2 instances of Star Wars in the news where 2 separate I shouldn't, this is gonna be spoiler alert, but 2 separate times, 2 separate news stories compared a meeting, let's say, that happened to the Star Wars cantina scene in A New Hope. Don't you, you're like, oh, what's canon, what's not canon, and their revisionist history and stuff like that. But don't you think that's kind of interesting that this is like all part, like, oh shit, we got to fit this in now. How are we going to fit this in? And okay, well, Luke and Leia kiss, but that's before they knew they were brother and sister. I mean,
that's what I'm interested in. I'm
it's
not
like-
interested in the stories and the Muppets. I'm interested in how George Lucas, sort of his revisionists. Yeah, the creative process and how
And then how like other people are picking up the reins.
commerce,
Yeah.
yeah, and
It's fascinating, isn't it?
and the toxic fan culture.
Yeah, yeah, I did see something fly across my screen about like the toxic fan, but that you have that in, gosh, there's toxic fan culture in video games too. Who knew?
Yeah, exactly.
Just anywhere there are males, there's toxicity. So I was
One place I haven't seen it is in music.
I was
Funny.
I was leading a capoeira class, showing movements in a capoeira. I was showing capoeira movements to a day camp last week, and this changed my life. I decided I would never ever want to teach capoeira ever again. But one of the little kids, so it was like a bunch of toxic little kids, like, ages 10 to 17. The older ones were okay, but there was one little kid, one little boy, who, like, when I got to him, like, I'm like, oh, you know what? I just ask them all their names and what their superpowers are. So I'm going through, what's your superpower? What's your something I picked up from you, which you should talk about. But this one, when I got to this one kid who was kind of acting up, and I said, and what's your name and what's your superpower? And he goes, I'm nervous. I'm like, is that your superpower or your name? He's like, no, don't make fun of me. I'm nervous and I should be allowed to have those feelings. And I'm like, dude, it's totally fine here to be nervous. And then I said, let me let you in on a little secret. I'm very nervous. And that didn't make him feel any better at all.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, why am I telling him that I'm nervous? It's like, yeah, you don't want to be here? I don't want to be here either, buddy. It was pretty terrible. But I'm so glad I did it. And you'll notice that there are no berimbaus in the house anymore, and that don't belong to me. I gave them all away. It's all over.
Why?
Okay.
Oh, just so that you don't do group birimbau things?
There's just no reason for me to have any of that stuff. I'm letting go of things. So Lars Nielsen says Simon Pegg said Star Wars fans were the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder why that is. That's
There's just
interesting
more
to
of
me
them.
too. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you got to realize that it's
What about Trump
mainstream.
fans? Are they worse than Star Wars fans? I'm going to say yes.
They're not fans, they're supporters.
I see.
It's all
I gotta say,
part of
like
the
the
same
Andor,
stew.
the Andor trailer was really cool. Okay,
So that's
what's
what you
next?
watched and talked about.
we
is
watched
just the trailer. The
yeah,
show
and then that
hasn't
was
come out
like,
yet.
I've got till August 31st to finish watching the Clone Wars, and I'm making it through. I'm going through, but the Andor thing. So Andor like happens before Rogue One. It's got
And is
Cassian
that
Andor.
a computer science joke? That name or something?
Andor?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably not, because those guys don't know anything about computers. It's like, it's like the whole Silicon Valley guys. You're like, oh, the guys are they're such geeks, and this is so cool, and then they're like, we don't know anything about computers.
We're actors.
We're actors.
Not,
yeah.
We're not the characters.
Well, they're really good actors. What's next? I'm bored of myself. I should also thank Lotus Pool, because Lotus Pool is sponsoring our podcast Forced. So thanks again to Chris, who is a saint, Chris Garibaldi, who's a mensch and a saint. And you're on a podcast with him too. You want to do a shout out for because yeah.
Our podcast only does special holiday specials now.
Where they dress up as Ewoks and stuff.
Can't wait. There's going to be some amazing stuff with Art Carney and B. Arthur.
Okay, what's next?
What's next? You want to talk about Nick Cave?
Oh my God. So how long? All right, so Nick Cave, the artist. We like the musician too, but Nick Cave, the artist from Chicago, black.
I did not realize he was from Chicago, so I knew of him.
That's weird.
And so what freaks me out a little bit is that I thought he was a little more high profile because I'm from the area, but I feel like he's a pretty high profile artist.
There was something in the New York Times about him, right?
Oh yeah, he's high profile within the art world, but I'm realizing that not as many people know about him. I think of him on the level of like who's somebody,
Warhol?
yeah, not that level, but I'm trying to think of a contemporary artist
Robert Rauschenberg.
A contemporary artist that
Banksy?
people, yeah, like Banksy, maybe not Banksy.
Not Banksy.
I'm trying to get down one step below Banksy, but still people are aware of that aren't art people, and so I guess that there is no gap. There is no there. You're right. There is no artist.
Joseph Cornell.
Just
I am trying to figure out, I'm trying to figure out that tier that you're talking about. Like, it's not obscure. Geiger. Lars Nielsen says Geiger. He's laughing. Oh, I got this H.R. Geiger, yeah. Yeah, you spelled it wrong.
Oh, H.R. Geiger.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
not
thinking
the
of
other Geiger.
yeah, I was thinking. No, I was thinking, who's the guy who does the candle? Who painted Richter? I was thinking.
Gerhard Richter. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Well, Gerhard Richter is
We're to the
definitely. I think
art
he's probably
part of our
richer than
podcast now.
Nick Cave. Gerhard Richter's been around longer, but he's definitely. I would say he's richer than Nick Cave, the artist. But Nick Cave's, I'm sure, doing fine.
So if you're anywhere near Chicago, like, all right, so we did not go to see the Nick Cave exhibition at Mass MoCA in wherever the fuck Mass MoCA is,
It's in
Massachusetts.
the middle of Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's like on the west side
well,
of it. Yeah.
It's not in Boston.
Right, very far from
Not,
Boston.
Not Boston, Massachusetts.
Right, exactly. So we went because there was James Turrell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to see James Turrell, and then they had what's his name with the lines?
Saul LeWitt.
Yeah, they have a bunch
it's a
of
great
like
museum.
yeah, it's a fantastic museum.
Yeah.
But they had like a little James Turrell, like some some light. James Turrell is
substantial installations.
artist that works with light, like natural light and stuff like that. Yeah, it was
and
wonderful.
unnatural light.
Right. Yeah, and
Light.
unnatural.
He just works
yeah,
with
light. But not in the same way that Dan Flavin works with light. It's like
Right.
more sculptural, using the light. Anyway, we drove out there to see that when we went to New York and stuff like a couple of years ago, and forced our kids to look at art and stuff. And I think they're getting the hang of looking at art now, which is good. But at Mass MoCA at that time there was a Nick Cave exhibition too, and it was like it blew me away. That's kind of what I remembered from Mass MoCA more than anything else was the Nick Cave. And then we heard that there was going to be a retrospective at the Museum of Contemporary Art here in Chicago. So that started, and Joe Shanahan, who owns the Metro, had been posting about it too. So I don't know if he's friends with him but it was neat. It's neat that Joe Shanahan was lifting him up.
And so what he's most well known for are the sound suits. So these very ornamental kind of costumes, bodysuits, if you've seen those, like with flowers on them, or kind of more like glittery pom-pom material. But he also does
embroidery.
Yeah,
and
his other stuff. And so the stuff that we saw at Mass MoCA was the yard twirlers, and then something that was just this huge rustling pom-pom material
which
on a
yeah,
wall,
which
right?
our little
And
kid
with
remembered.
fans blowing, and a sonic and visual thing.
But there was like an island in the middle of the spinners, remember, that you could climb up on the staircase, and then you can go up there, and it's filled with like with dolls and like ornamental metal things. So the sound suits though, the first who was Rodney King? I'm trying to remember which
was that?
Yeah. So Nick Cave is a black
No, that would have been 92.
gay artist. But he had seen he had this art is in response to all the beatings, and just like sort of other feeling of people of color and people
it was
who are
Rodney
gay
King.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Rodney King beating, and I guess so the first sound suit I think that he made was made out of sticks, right?
Yeah, twigs.
Yeah.
He was sitting in the park in Chicago and just kind of thinking about how shitty everything is in America.
And making art out of it.
Yeah, and making these kind of suits to kind of not hide within, but yeah, like shelters almost. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
yeah. If only we went to art school so we would know how to talk about art. That'd be really cool.
I just don't want to project. Like I know.
Yeah.
I know we were trained to explain art, but I don't like doing that anymore. Really,
we were trained to explain our art.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're right. We were
but
trained
also,
to explain.
critique and interpret and
But anyway,
well, we had a moment where it was like the 13-year-old it was a bunch of gloves in amber. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
The gloves in amber, and the 13-year-old was like, "Oh, this is probably O.J. Simpson," right? And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, maybe it is." and it was like, oh no, it's about AIDS, and but it was like, I don't know.
Why did he think it was O.J. Simpson?
Because the glove, glove, that's a highly charged thing. People know, like, yeah, even a 13-year-old knows, like, connects gloves. The glove, was part of the evidence in
I didn't even know that.
O.J. Simpson trial.
Wow, I didn't know that.
If it doesn't fit, you must have quit. So he couldn't fit the glove on his hand, and it was evidence. And it was,
Wow.
anyways,
I didn't
but
follow
I mean,
that
that's the thing. That's what I liked about it. Is it's like we were having a really interesting discussion about race and art, and that to me was a good thing. It was like, oh, that's the whole point of this, right? As opposed to, oh, this is really cool looking. It's like I was having a pretty in-depth conversation with a 13-year-old about race race in the United States without it with it being, but through art,
through the lens of art.
Yeah, so I thought that was good.
Yeah, I had, and so in the next room was like the black boy statue with the giant sparkly dildo. My conversation with the 13-year-old was whether or not that was a dildo or not a dildo.
Yeah,
like
well, that was the thing. Is like, I think that's a penis, and I'm like, it looks like a corn cob because it had a golden thing on it, and then I was like, oh no, yeah, you're right.
Well, it says dildo. It said dildo
on
and
the,
so
the
like,
card,
yeah,
but we were looking at it and talking about it.
Yeah,
and then I was like, oh yeah, no, you're right.
Well, here's an art school thing. Did you? What's the percentage of time that you look at the card first? And what's the percentage of the time that you don't look at the card? And how much time do you spend reading the card? And
I look at the card after now.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
I look at the description after.
Yeah.
I am intentional about that now, because I used to be the opposite, or it was just, I wanted to know. Yeah. And but I'm generally interested in motivation. So this is the problem. It's not a problem. I don't think it's a problem, but you could say it's. I mean, other people have other opinions. It's like I do believe the artist's intent and their background and what they were thinking, right? But I also know that I like experiencing it first without having anything to give me a preconceived notion of what I'm experiencing. But then I go and look and see if I'm right, or if I get some more insight, or just even curious. I'm actually curious about timelines. So if it's not a exhibition in order, right? So a lot of or in the old days you'd have the artist's kind of growth over time in these career retrospectives, and but nobody does that anymore. So it's like I have to start making those. I'm interested in development and revisiting and art. Is this So the sound suits are interesting because they are something that he's continually doing. And so then looking at the card and trying to figure out which one is from 20 years ago and which one is from last year, and see the differences. That to me is interesting.
So the ornate stuff that he's got, like sculptures that are really ornate, filled with like kind of metal flowers, like a lot of metal flowers and stuff. Really, like, to me, I remember going to Chicago, when I was very little, and visiting aunts and uncles that lived in Chicago, and I just remember that sort of ornate metal like stuff you'd see like on fences and stuff, like the concrete steps that you'd have to go up to get to somebody's house, and then you'd see these ornate metal like roses and stuff like that, and flowers, and it just like said Chicago to me. But I absolutely love everything I saw. I loved everything I saw. I want to go back. I want to force my sisters to go to it. But like, Graham said that some people can't be forced to like something before they're ready to.
Yeah, that's the thing is but they're visually impressive. I mean, they are beautiful. That's the thing. They are just beautiful, right? There's
stunning, like giant collages where you're like, there's nothing that doesn't look perfect. That I don't get how he does that. Like this giant wall collage with like dominoes in it, like dominoes placed everywhere. It's like fucking masterful. Unbelievable. The balance. And like there's like another little area where there are like little, it's like giant, I'm like really into the Cornell boxes. And after I see this, I'm like, and I know that you needed Joseph Cornell boxes in order to get to this or whatever. But, and actually, I'd like to know a little bit about, like, did he go to the School of Art Institute or something? Where did Nick Cave go to school?
Remember.
Like, yeah, it didn't say. I don't think I saw. And I can't remember what I'm talking about now, but man, it was just beautiful. Just absolutely masterful. Everything was balanced. It's breathtaking. How about that? Breathtaking. But I was sad because the Mass Mocha exhibition like had more spinners. I think it was like the spinners were more congregated in like a giant atrium. But that's fine. It's neat. It is neat for me to see like a different inception of that. So go to the Nick Cave at the MCA, the Museum of Contemporary Art, and then right after that we went to Uniqlo because the 13-year-old wanted to go to Uniqlo. Mm-hmm. That was fun too. Okay, what's next?
Uniqlo, the IKEA of clothes, right?
Japanese IKEA.
Let's see. Well, we could talk about the Salaryman show.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about it. We played a show outside, which was nice.
I was so freaked out that like all my friends from the Samba Blocko were gonna come, and I was like, oh my God. But they all came, and then they sat there, and then they like clapped for us, and they loved it. I'm not used to like inviting I didn't invite a group of friends. They like just found out about it and then they came. I don't like inviting people to shows.
It's kind of what always happens, right? When you're in a band.
What, people come?
Well, not always.
People? No, they don't. You invite people and then they couldn't come and then they go, oh, I'm so sorry.
But not everybody. Some people show up,
That's true. Yeah. But you don't want to. All right. So here, like with poster children shows, how many times did people drive to see us and then something terrible happened to them on the way back from the show? Because it happened at least like 4 times over, the 20 or 30 years that we were touring. And I always remember feeling terrible about it.
There's a Kansas record, right? With that's what I remember from when I was a kid. Is it the live record where they talk about somebody who got into a car accident after a Kansas show and lost their eyesight or something?
Yeah, and that's happened. Like people have gotten into car accidents after poster children shows.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you mentioned the Who, right? Where you actually have people die, getting trampled at your show or something like that, right? And
it's one of the more.
It's a burden.
It's like another problematic thing about being a band, like printing up hundreds of vinyl records or just things.
It's just so.
They're like you try to be good.
Try to be good.
So I mean that I have seen like not to belabor on the Nick Cave stuff and all, but that's all found stuff. There's a lot of artists working. In fact, the artist whose name I can't remember now that's still showing at the University Galleries here. Oh God, I can't remember.
Oh, I mean, he's got plastic. There was the plastic beads. Like a huge amount of plastic beads.
Yeah,
and the spinners were all. Those are all manufactured things.
Made out of metal.
He's not 100% reusing and repurposing stuff.
Yeah.
So it's the artist offset, right? It's like you hope that you're in the process of perpetuating consumerism. You're creating a commentary on it too, maybe, or buying materials or selling materials in order for a greater good. That's hard to deal with that.
Did you like the Salaryman show?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Outdoor shows to me, I love, especially now. I love
now
outdoor
in
shows.
The age of COVID.
Yeah. It's very hot, and so for me, it's just it's sweating profusely, but that's okay. I mean, that's one good reason to be in a rock band, is that it is a socially acceptable place for me to sweat profusely, which I do, right?
Yeah.
And then, but yeah. So it's just always little things, like the kick drum never sounds as good, at an outdoor show, or you just don't. I get, it's like, it's hard for me to get the full excitement.
Yeah, we weren't amplified at all. I mean, we were amplified, but we didn't have a PA or anything.
But in a way, that's a good thing, right? We were in complete control. It was an organic kind of, more of like an acoustic combo kind of thing, where everyone's responsible for their volume, and,
that was
how
nice.
It's closer to a rehearsal.
And we got some good TV too in it, but then people were just like, "What are the samples?" And I'm like, "That's TV." They didn't realize that it was like a.
So in a dark club, you can see the TV. We need to think about what to do with the TV so it's a little more visible. In that case, in the daylight,
because it doesn't look like, because when we were on tour back in the day, it actually looked like a television set. It had depth.
And you had it right next to you, and so
yeah.
Right now it was on your amp. But yeah, we just need to figure out a place to mount it so on your keyboard setup, so it's obvious
That's true.
what's going on.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. It was nice to play at Japan House. It's one of my it is my favorite place at U of I. It changed my life. Made me who I am. Okay. So anything else?
I went to a college orientation for
oh my God.
Dairy King. It was interesting because they did a quick design streak design thinking exercise where it was like, okay, get it. It's parents and students until they split us off.
Rick teaches design thinking. Rick is like the head of design thinking.
It's absolutely
no,
not
it's
true.
not pre-recorded, Nathan. No, it's just random TV. Even Nathan Westerman doesn't know, and he's an artist. Man, we need to. Yeah.
There is still TV. You can still get TV through the air. It's digital TV, so it's a little
Absolutely
more
not
complicated.
pre-recorded.
Yeah. It's randomly pulling broadcasts. And so once the digital television stations go down, then we had to get a new TV that could get in digital TV.
Right.
Up and
yeah, see, now he's impressed. Damn it.
It's fine.
Okay, so back to the design thinking. So Rick is like the leader.
No, this is what you're saying is not true, but
should be.
I've been involved in it. I'm thinking about using it in teaching. I've thought about all that kind of stuff. Anyways, they did this thing, design a food truck. And so we got into small groups of students and their families, right? And people introducing themselves, and then you had to come up with a food truck idea. And then, and so the thing was I was doing the college professor thing where it was like, oh, well, what should the name of the food truck be? And it's like, or what should it be about? Like, what kind of food truck? And then, and so there was another dad.
You got into a fist fight with another dad,
right? No, not getting
right?
into it. No, it's just another, a day. And again, it's just trying to be helpful. It's just like, oh, well, my kid's doing film, so maybe it should be a film food truck. And it's like, okay, great. So what should the name of it be? Maybe a pun based on films and everything like that. And I was like asking everybody, well, what's your favorite movie? And everybody's like, I don't have one, and not getting that. And so then again, the same dad trying to solve a problem is like, oh, let's call it cinema. Oh yeah, and it was like, oh, the mom made cookies, so we were doing cookies. It was a cookie food truck. I didn't have an idea.
No, but they asked what your superpower was, right?
We were
supposed
you
ask that? Or?
No, we were all supposed to introduce ourselves and our superpowers, where we're from and our superpowers. And I went first, and I said I can see the future. So set everything off. I undermined myself from the very beginning. It's like, okay, this person's a lunatic.
Why is that? Well, no. Anyway.
But honestly, if your kid's going to art school, you should be prepared to hear from crazy
lunatics.
People who talk like that.
So okay, so
I did not out myself as the numerous situations where I did not out myself as a
college professor who teaches art. Did anybody else say what they do?
I'm creative. it would come up. But anyways, yeah. So then what was the food truck? Oh, it was like cinema cookies, and then it was like yeah. So basically, and then it was like, okay, all the groups break up, and it's like there are like hundreds of people in this room, and so then it's like, okay, one person goes up and presents their food truck idea, and so our Dairy King was the representative of our group, and so my frustration was that so basically all that happened was his dad came up with an idea for a food truck. It was not, and it frustrated me because this is the problem with these kind of collaborative group exercises is someone can kind of hijack it, even if they're well intentioned. It's very easy for a forceful person or a problem solver to not, just relax and let things happen and let other people say stuff and come up with ideas. And so our group wound up with basically this guy who's my age, his idea, right? It was all his ideas. And it was like, that frustrated me. But then in the process of...
Because you felt like it should have been the kids' ideas.
Yeah, I was trying it, but they were not saying anything and not coming up with anything, right? But the other groups, somebody would get up and they talk about, oh, it's this and that, and using each student in the group's special abilities and everything like that, putting it all together in the food truck and everything like that. And there were people presenting amazing stuff, but then there were other people coming up and presenting and saying, oh, we didn't think about all that, but this is what ours is, and a lot of them had the name of it is this, and it's like that you got to have a name for it, that's funny and clever. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
But in the process of waiting in line, Dairy King wrote basically a short stand-up routine and did a presentation based around the idea that was basically a bunch of quick jokes, and it worked.
With directors, right?
Yeah, cookies and
like
making jokes about
this type of. So there's a
Tarantino cookie with blood in it, and Christopher Nolan cookie that what is it? What was the joke?
I don't know, but he had like there was a whole stand-up routine with like a whole bunch of different cookies and talking about the different directors and stuff. So he really really shined.
John Hughes cookie. It's not as good as you remember it. Things like that.
Yeah.
They were good.
He said everybody was laughing, right?
Yeah. No, it was great. It was great. So it all got but it was also it made me question this whole process. Of
what design thinking?
Just collaboration and these group exercises and these things, and it's good. It's all about brainstorming.
Are you you're gonna teach that? Maybe you could maybe what can come out of that is a you can problem solve collaboration again.
Well, yeah, but I've taught collaborative classes before. It's not.
But I mean, with the class, you can be like, okay, if you guys are noticing that one person, go meta.
And I don't think that's. I don't think that's a useful. I don't think students want that. I think students don't want. They barely can tolerate working in groups and not knowing how something's going to turn out or things not turning out the way they wanted it to. Right? Yeah. Just those basic collaborative things. Yeah. To me, it's just getting a group of people to understand that first off, everybody hates collaboration. And everybody has to collaborate. I think that's how I'm going to start the class this year is like, I hate working in groups. I have done nothing but work in groups for my whole adult life, my professional life, right?
And I hate everybody in all my groups.
No, it's just like, yeah. And so what do you have to do? You've got to learn how to do it. It's not that you hate it. It's just, why do you hate it? And it's because it doesn't,
So your class is going to be more collaboration than design thinking.
Well, I think design thinking is a tool for collaboration, a framework for that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so and that's the thing is that you can improvise it, which you do in art classes, right? Or creative, let's just call them creative classes, right? Project-based creative classes is like you can be fuzzy about it and just kind of do it on instinct, but I think more and more students want some sort of structure, even if that structure is about how the creative process and the process, not even, just the process of working on projects.
The life of the artist.
Not even the life of the artist. Getting something done. It's all about compromise. That was the greatest thing, was like somebody actually had a chart. It's kind of like the uncanny valley where it's just like, here's the point in every project you work on where you say, why have I wasted my time doing this? It's impossible. I'm going to give up. right? And it was somebody mapping that out and saying, this always happens. You know it always happens. And it's just having a map and having evidence of it, having a diagram, for me, was really great because I know this. I know it's like every time, and it's like you're going to fall into this pit of despair. The pit of despair. You can call it whatever you want.
The life of the artist.
And it's not even the life of the artist. It's the life of just getting things done and hard work or things that are hard to do. Things that are hard to do. There's never a point, like nothing goes easily, right? There's always going to be some point or multiple points where things go wrong or things don't work or you have to figure out or you feel like you talk about it with programming. And I talk about it in my classes now too, which is just like, that feeling you're having right now that, like students will say, I spent like so many hours working on this and I was getting so mad that I couldn't figure it out.
3 hours.
And then I finally figured it out and I felt really good. And it was like, yeah. And then I explain. So what I always thought is that once I knew everything and once I got to be an old guy who had lots of experience, that problem would never happen again. That success and being a professional or being good at what you do meant that you never hit the wall anymore. You could just do it and no problems and you can just crank stuff out, right? And that's not true. I mean, maybe you can crank stuff out faster, but you also wind up doing things that are more difficult or you wind up being more critical as you achieve higher quality. Then you go and, but it can still be better. And so you wind up hitting these walls all the time. So it's not about eliminating that brick wall in the process that you have to vault over. It's about acknowledging that, oh, here it is. Here's the brick wall. And it's not even, about feeling good about it. It's just like, I just got to keep going because at some point, the 50th time I slam my head into this wall, it's actually I'm going to be able to get through it. Right. And it's not that, yeah, you eliminate those. It's just that you just understand that they exist and you work past them. All right, sorry. Okay.
I found you made me remember that you wanted to see the engineering diagram, and I just found it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a good couple of weeks.
It's the end of the summer. It's all over.
For Rose, I guess. You have a vacation.